my brothers and I also have different fathers. And for me, I met my father when I was 14 years old. And before then, my mom came to my brothers and I, and she asked if we all wanted to meet our fathers. And I remember the boys, Brandon was really young, but Apple, my brother after me, he had a lot of questions, a lot of questions. Now, from my personal experience, we did have a father who was, I called dad, in our life, and he was the man of the household. And so for me, it wasn't necessarily like I needed to know who this other guy was, because we did have a father in the house. So my experience was different from yours, because I didn't have the need to know who my biological father was, because there was a man there with us. But I remember when you asked me that question, the first thing that came to mind was, should I let my mom find this guy, or should I not say anything and protect my mom? And hindsight, I would have told you, no, I don't want to meet him. Because I didn't want that can of worms to be opened back up, and then my mom feel all these feelings that she felt of what happened between them, and having to explain that to me. And I was more so happy that I have a mom that's in my life than knowing who this other person was. Why are you crying?
I appreciate the fact that you cared enough about my feelings and took my feelings into consideration over your own feelings. So I really appreciate that, and I didn't know that, but I kind of feel it, because as a mom, we do have those motherly intuitions, but I really appreciated hearing it from you.
Meeting him was very strange, because here it is, you have this guy who has a whole nother family, a whole entire life that is separate from your life. It's as if you don't even exist. And it's like, it was hard for me as a child, and I think I was very mature at that age, because I still was able to recognize, wow, this man he is living his life with zero concern about where his biological daughter, his first child, what she's doing, is she okay, how she's been for 14 years, no consideration for me. Like, my mom could have been on the street with me, we could have been in a shelter, and he didn't care. And I know that you also had to deal with that with granddad. So I feel like we really, our lives are very similar in ways, because the same things you went through with granddad, I went through with my biological father.
I agree.
You didn't allow your relationship with our fathers to interfere with the relationship that you allowed us to have with them.
I think for me, at the end of the day, I wanted to be transparent about the whole situation. Regardless of what I went through with your father and your brothers, their dad also, I wanted to be at peace with myself, knowing that I gave you all the opportunity, whether you took that opportunity, or even like I just found out, came to me and said, hey, you know what, Mom, I appreciate you giving us this information, but I'm okay. But again, for me, I wanted peace. I wanted peace inside, because I didn't want you guys to grow up and one day question why I didn't tell you that who your father's was, or give you guys the opportunity to know who your father is. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what I went through in those relationships, I still firmly believe that a child has the right to know who their father is, and a right to make that decision whether or not they want to connect.
Yeah, I really commend you on being strong enough to put your feelings aside on how they treated you, and let us have our own relationship with them and have our own experiences with them and see how they treated us, and how if we wanted to continue the relationship with them on our own and not a biased opinion because of how they did you. And I know that in your book you talk about how a lot of women tend to allow themselves to distance their child from their fathers because of how they did them in the past in their relationships with them. And I don't think that's a good thing at all. I think
agree.
I think what you did was very, very commendable.